Another week, another loss. We've got your breakdown and some other takeaways about the Giants' loss to the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. That's coming up next on the Locked On Giants podcast.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily New York Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of the Locked On Giants podcast is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Hello, New York Giant fans. Welcome to another edition of the Locked On Giants podcast, part of the Locked On podcast family, your team every day. I'm Patricia Traina, P-Train, and I am joined, as always, by David Turner. David Turner joins me after a Giants game. And the New York Giants tonight, you know what? It could have been a lot worse. It wasn't a blowout, but the Giants losing to the Buffalo Bills 14-9 as the offense continues to sputter for a variety of reasons, which David and I will get into. The defense played pretty well. We'll talk about that. And where does this 1-5 team go from here? So that's what we're going to cover on today's episode of the Locked On Giants podcast. As always, thank you for making us your first listen of the day, or if you watch on YouTube, your first watch of the day. David, you want to start with the good or the bad? I'll leave it up to you.
No, I think that we can take some positives for sure out of tonight. And do you want to start with offensive positives or defensive positives?
Well, let's talk about defensive positives, because I think there were probably more defensive positives than offensive positives.
Well, the defensive positives obviously were the playing of Okereke, McFadden, Xavier McKinney, obviously. Banks played very well. We saw some really good play out of some of our back end and our second level players. Dexter Lawrence flashed a few rushes tonight. It was nice for him to, make an appearance. So, there was some stuff that really worked. I think Wink called a really, really good game. The Bills kind of helped us with their focus only on Diggs. I mean, the Bills offense is better when they get Gabriel Davis going and Knox going and then running the football. Then Diggs winds up getting open. But tonight they just seemed on focus of pumping him the ball. So it worked into our favor because obviously Wink had a good pattern. I think, Diggs he got targeted 16 times. He was 10 of 16 and he did have 100 yards. But I mean, to have a one player targeted 16 times in an NFL game, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a statement that we need to get this guy the ball, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that played into Wink's hands a little bit, being honest with you, because he was going to double cover him all night. And he took away, Diggs for most of the big plays a lot. I mean, 10 catches for 100 yards even. It's an average of, 28 or 10 yards a catch, and the long was 28. So most of those were 5 and 7 yard catches for him, really. Which again, if you're going to bottle up a player like Diggs, that's the way to do it. So, and other players didn't really show up to really defeat us at the point. We kind of helped them out with some of what we did, giving them the ball back, and then some of the loosey goosey stuff that we did. But Josh was forced off his spot all night. He didn't look comfortable. He was hit. He was, he was harassed. So, we did see some more live out of Thibodeau tonight. We saw Simmons get in there. So we saw some life of our pass rush getting through and making a difference.
Yeah. The defense played pretty well. I mean, and it's funny. I was saying, Bobby Okereke had a heck of a game. And I was saying, win or lose, Okereke should be defensive player of the week. Now, he won't get it because the Giants lost, but he's been playing lights out. As a matter of fact, this is the best linebacker play I think I can recall seeing in quite some time from that inside linebacker spot. Now, offensively, we'll talk about what went wrong in the next segment, but there were a few things that went right for the Giants on offense. And I think we got to start with the return of 26.
Well, of course, the return of 26, but 26 was only averaging about 4 yards, if that, a carry, until he popped some big ones when the line coach and the offensive coordinator learned what a trap play was. They were like, "Oh shoot, we can run a trap and it can work. Yeah, let's do it 7 times in a row." What I saw up front was they basically got it down to basics. They brought it back down. It wasn't complicated. It really was hat on hat and try to block. We did see tight ends in. We did see running backs in, especially at the end of the game, second to last play or so. You have the running back and the tight end right next to Tyrod. They stepped up. They helped the tackles perfectly. Tyrod decided to run, which we'll talk about later. But, it was a situation where I thought the coaches on the offensive line and the protection calls got back to basics. They kept it simple. I didn't see mental breakdowns. Did we have issues blocking them? Yes, but those were because of, technique. Those were skill level and sets that weren't mental breakdowns. I didn't see a lot of oh shucks blocks like, oh, who's supposed to have that guy? And the quarterback's picking himself up tonight. So they got back down to basics. I liked what I saw there. I also liked what I saw out of the receivers. I thought the receivers were winning some battles. I saw them winning some battles and being open in some situations. They didn't necessarily get the ball, but when they were showing replays and stuff, I was seeing them work their way open. And I really liked what I saw there. And then obviously, having Barkley back there is a difference-making opportunity because, if you don't load up the box, he's going to pop those 12, 15, 20-yard runs, right? It's just what he's going to do. That's why he's so lethal. And if you do load up the box, it gives the quarterback an opportunity to take some shots downfield. And, we found Hyatt on one long ball and, we tried a couple other ones. So it was a situation where I think having 26 back there is definitely intimidation factor for what he can do. And we saw it in the second half, when the end of the first half, second half, we saw what he could do, just pop some runs and boom, here we go.
Yeah, Barkley finishing with 24 carries for 93 yards. And we have spoken after a game about feeding the ball to Barkley. Barkley, I thought, was going to be on a pitch count because he had been limited the last 2 weeks in practice. He still didn't look 100%. He didn't look right. There were a couple times when he went to cut, and it looked like that ankle was still a little shaky, but he made it through. Hopefully he didn't make that injury any worse to where, he has to sit out next week. But, getting over the hump and getting him back in there. The offensive line, they only gave up 3 sacks. I thought they did a much better job overall. Tyrod Taylor, well, we'll talk about him in the next one, but he finished 24 of 36, 200 yards for an 80.8 rating, had a long of 31, but I think he also had another long pass that went a little bit longer that got wiped out by a penalty, if I'm not mistaken. And the leading receiver, Wan'Dale Robinson, 8 catches out of 8 targets, 62 yards, which, those 62 yards were second on the team behind Slayton's 69. Giants, though, can't score touchdowns. They had to settle for field goals. I mean, they came close a couple times, and again, we'll talk about that in the next segment. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I was like, don't walk me down that road right now.
No. We'll catch on that. We'll touch on that on the next one. I just wanted to recap on this, but the rushing game, again, 34 carries total, 132 yards. So good job there. The receivers, fairly good job. But coming up, we're going to talk about those decisions and what doomed this team in the end results. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. Hey, Giant fans, if you want to secure tickets to your favorite concerts, shows, and sporting events without the stress, then you need to check out Game Time, the fast and easy way to buy tickets right up until the day of the event. With amazing deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guaranteed, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you're going to have. And with Game Time, you not only get the lowest prices on an event, you also get to see exactly what your vantage point is going to be in the venue with their clear images of seat views. Plus, they offer event cancellation protection. And if that's not enough, if you find tickets in the same section and row for less elsewhere, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So go ahead and snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Hey, Giant fans, if you are looking for a fun and different way to play fantasy football this season, you need to check out Prize Picks. Just pick 2 or more players, predict their stats, and sit back and see how they perform. It takes less than 60 seconds to make an entry, and best of all, you can turn a few bucks into some nice cash with the right projections. This weekend, the Giants are going to have the Washington Commanders, a game that they should be able to win. So if Daniel Jones returns, can he throw for 100 or more yards? Make that projection. Can Saquon Barkley, if he returns, carry the ball more than 5 times? Make that projection as well. See how you do. Prize Picks is the #1 daily fantasy sports app known for its quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and wide selection of players and stat types. And they offer weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, when every Tuesday Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to give you even more value. So what are you waiting for? Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the promo code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL, and that promo code is LockedOnNFL for your first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, Giant fans, welcome back to Locked On Giants. You've got Patricia Traina and special guest David Turner, former NFL scout, and we are breaking down the New York Giants' loss to the Buffalo Bills. Not too bad, a 14-9 loss. And yeah, I know I'm kind of like, I guess, resigned here because it's like it could have been 40-9, and it's, a loss is a loss, as they say. But David, this offense continues to be a problem. Some stats here. The Giants held the ball for 31 minutes, 24 seconds. They won the time of possession. They outgained the Buffalo Bills 317 to 297, but they were 0 for 5 in the red zone, 0 for 3 and goal to goal. They had that botched play, which I still don't know what the heck happened on that botched play at the end of the first half. There were some communication issues. I mean, what's up with this offense, man?
I said to my daughter, I said if they run the ball with 8 seconds to go and they don't make it, they're gonna miss their opportunity here because they can't get relined up. And she goes, "Are they gonna run the ball?" I go, "Yeah," and they ran the ball, and I lost my mind. Let's put it that way. And she was just like, "You called it," and I was like, "Of course I called it because I saw what was coming here." But it looked like Tyrod checked. It looked like they had a pass play called, and then Tyrod checked because of the defense. And that's situational coaching. It really is. You got to get your players ready for all situations. And in that situation, you got to be like, hey, don't check. Run the play. Throw the ball away. If you don't have it, throw it away, and we'll kick a field goal because we're coming out of the half with the ball again. Mm-hmm. So, if we kick a field goal here and another field goal, that's 6 points we can turn around. It's just as good as a touchdown, So it's the situational coaching really hurt us tonight. Time management and clock management hurt us tonight in several ways. But on offense, that one series at the end of the half when they got all the way down there, it was like you're at the 1, you got 8 seconds. It's 2 plays. That's 1 pass play. If you're really quick, run a Z fly and try to hit a guy on, running out of bounds, like type situation where, You can hit him and his momentum's going laterally. If you can't make it, let him run out of bounds. You still got 3 seconds, kick the field goal. If you have 5 seconds, hey, you can snap the ball one more time, throw a fade. Clock won't run out. You'll have 2 seconds. This is all the analytical stuff that we were taught in the league. Like how many plays you can run with 8 seconds can be up to 3 plays if you call the right plays, but they're all pass plays because you need incompletions, or you need the ball carrier to run out of bounds. Running the football is just never going to be. And when you don't have a timeout, you can't do that. You just can't check to that. And that was something that, again, situational coaching and play calling right there caught us. Even the personnel they put on the field was all tight ends and stuff. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, you have all these receivers that can use these fly motions and different things like Buffalo did there for their first touchdown. They ran a receiver no one's really ever heard of into a motion and then back out. Everybody paid attention to Diggs, and boom, guy's wide open. That's the kind of stuff that you have to do when you're in those situations to really maximize not only the roster you have, but the time you have to run plays. So that was a problem for me. And even at the end of the game, when Tyrod decided to run the ball, it was like, man, there's not enough time. You have to know you have to throw that ball away. Live another day. Just throw it away. I mean, he didn't pick up a first down. It was a situation where he got the ball closer, and we were lucky they called a PI. But even on the PI, the next play you're trying to go right back to Waller. It's like you just went to him. And who thinks you're going to run the ball at that point? You're better off to spread it out, create a one-on-one matchup, or run a combo, a box and one style combo where you would run Waller through like to the post or to the flag and back of the end zone to sit up, and then maybe run a guy underneath, like, Bellinger, somebody they're not looking for, right, underneath him, and then hit Bellinger because everybody's going to float back to the back of the end zone for Waller. And then boom, here you go. You got your other tight end that no one's really paying attention to, wide open. Those are the types of games that you got to play in those moments.
David, I think they've gone 13 quarters now without scoring a touchdown. Is it the execution, the play calling? Why can't this team score 6?
I attribute it to both, being honest. Like, I think tonight we saw execution was poor in those situations. We're just not getting open. We're not, and the play calling, to me, and the situations you're putting the players in aren't accurate. So I think it's both. If I'm going to put more emphasis, it's on play calling, protection and play calling, because you can do so much. You can be so creative. If you watch what Mike McDaniels is doing in Miami, you watch what Shanahan's doing in San Francisco. Like, they're just so creative in what they're doing with their pre-snap motions and moving safeties and linebackers, around before the ball's even snapped to get mismatches. It's just, to me, you always got to be a student of the game, and you got to constantly learn. And I would be in the lab with some of their tapes right now and saying, what personnel do I have? I can run that play because I love that play. And we have players that can do similar things. So, it's not like we have a Tyreek Hill, but Hyatt's pretty dang fast, and, is a Waddle. Okay, we got Waddell. I mean, it sounds almost the same, right? So, I'm just saying, like, go in the lab. I learned that from Greg Knapp, the late Greg Knapp. He would always watch. He would have us pull like the top 10 explosive plays around the league every week and put them on a reel for him, and then he would go watch them just to see if there's something he likes or something that was part of our playbook that we can maybe call on that and do that. It was always learning. He was always a student of the game. So, for me, I think that's what we got to be for our offense too.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive line, not a horrible job tonight, considering that they had another injury. Joshua Zudu was lost due to, I think, a turf toe. Justin Pugh got thrown in there. He started off at left guard, and then when Azuda went down, they moved him over to left tackle. I think he had his share of struggles at left tackle, but he fought. I'll give him that. But the line, to me, just seemed a lot more settled, despite the fact this was the 5 million combination that they've thrown out there. But
But again, I think it's because they kept it basic.
Right,
if you
they went back
watched
to
it,
basics.
yeah, it was really basic blocking. So there wasn't a lot of mental, wondering where you're supposed to be. It was, and that's what I've been calling for a long time. And the Bills ran a 6-man protection. I text you. I'm like, that's what it's supposed to look like when you bring in the offensive lineman. Like, that's how you run a 6-person protection with an extra offensive lineman, and it worked. So, those are the kind of things I keep saying, and I'm going to beat into him. It's like, you got to run that 6 offensive lineman on the field and keep a back end or keep a tight end in, and you know what, go win with 3. You got to do it. I mean, you can do it. You have good receivers, but if you're choosing not to do it, your quarterbacks are just going to get pummeled.
Yeah. And, Tyrod Taylor didn't take too bad of a beating. Let me see if I had the defensive stats here. I think he only got hit. Let's see. Taylor got hit, 5 times? Which is not bad.
Hit 5, I think. And it wasn't bad.
Not bad compared to what they've been giving up.
Right. And again, because we did keep 6 and 8 in at times. Mm-hmm. We did 7, I should say, 6 and 7 in at times. And we did help him out. We moved the pocket some. His ability to move around and create when he was on the run, that helped a little bit. I don't understand some of later in the game when we were looking for a score, we were running fade patterns and down the field instead of working the middle of the field. The crossing routes that San Francisco run are so basic, but they just are effective and they work. And I think with our personnel, we can make them work even better because you got guys like Waller, you got guys like Paris Campbell that are super quick, Hyatt that's fast, that can run people off and then come in and square in with somebody else behind them. And those combinations just seem to work so well right now in San Francisco for Brock Purdy. Why can't we adapt some of that? I think our personnel really works well with it. And again, I'm not just trying to overhype what San Francisco and Miami are doing, but they're not overly complicated schemes. They're just motioning out different things pre-snap to get the matchups they want, and then run a basic route combo, and it works.
Right. All right.
So, and I just really like what we have for us, to do the same.
Right. I was going to say, coming up next, we're going to talk about, there's stuff to build on here. I mean, it's a loss, yes, and it stakes, but there's stuff that they can build on. So we're going to talk about that coming up right after this. Hey, Giant fans. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates, right? So that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. I'm about to launch another campaign on LinkedIn Jobs to find some new writers and editors for Giants Country, the site that I run over on Fan Nation for SI.com. And having used it before, the process is super easy and a big time saver. All you have to do is add your job description and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. And simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so that you can quickly prioritize whom you'd like to interview and hire. So Giant fans, don't spend time sorting through endless resumes and dead-end leads. Put LinkedIn Jobs to work to you today for free by visiting linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. Terms and conditions apply. Hey, Giant fans, join the Locked On Giants Insiders Club, where you can get exclusive content delivered directly to your phone. Plus, engage on one-on-one conversations with me via text. I'm excited to have you be a part of the Locked On Giants Insiders Club. And you can join now and be in the know all the time. Go to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnNYGiants for more information or to start your free 14-day trial. Again, that URL is joinsubtext.com/LockedOnNYGiants for more information or to start your free 14-day trial. All right, everybody, welcome back to Locked On Giants. You've got Patricia Traina, David Turner, special guest, former NFL scout. And David, again, a loss is a loss. I get it, but finally some encouraging things. You know, the Giants actually competed against the Bills. They simplified stuff. They were a little bit more effective. They got Barkley back. I mean, what do they take to build on for next week when they, return home and they get a little bit of a break as far as the difficult part of their schedule, so to speak?
Well, again, I think they build on keep it simple, the KISS method. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I have.
Yes. And then also, stay aggressive on defense. Like Wink brought some pressures. He brought some people different ways, and that's what we need to do. Make the quarterback uncomfortable on the spot. Because even though Sam Howell coming in is not, the caliber of players we've been seeing lately, Sam threw for 3 touchdowns this weekend. He's I think thrown for five or seven in the last 3 games. So, I mean, this is an offense that can score points and likes to score points, and they are putting 6s up on the board. So, it's a situation where the Commanders' defense plays hard, but they're not that good. They kind of have some Swiss cheese action going. We just need to find those holes and utilize them. But by keeping the offensive line, again, blocking scheme is very simple, and when we limit our mental breakdowns, I think that will help us be more productive. The trap plays obviously work well for us, but they were trapping using Glowinski trapping right a lot. With Larry Allen, they used to do with the old Cowboys was Larry Allen was a really good trapper too. So they would trap right with him, but then all of a sudden you would have him pull left, almost like a trap out in space. And Glasgow probably could do that as really well. So, you would just take whoever the tackle is blocked out and then let Glasgow sidestep and come out and then kick out block. So you got to use his mobility and ability to hit moving targets like that to our advantage. And that means have him go both ways, doing it both ways for that. Because that is a big advantage when you have an offensive lineman that can hit moving targets like that. So for me, keep it simple up front. Utilize your strengths. Play into them right now. Running the ball obviously is our biggest strength. And then, using Waller, Hyatt, those guys down the field, Slayton across the middle, and then Wandell and his gadget plays. Let's do it. On defense, again, stay aggressive. We got to see what happens with some of these injuries. I know we had some people banged up in the back end, and if they don't come back or if they're hurt a little bit more than they got through the game. There's always injuries where guys get through the game, but then they might sit the next week or something because once the adrenaline wears off, it really hurts. So, we got to see what happens there for the defense. But there are building blocks. Like I told you a few weeks ago, I was like, go into the lab and figure it out, guys. We don't have an empty cupboard here. We got some tools. But again, for defense, it's that you got to draw the line in that sand so you're not crossing it. Okereke tonight drew the line. He said you're not crossing it, and he did his best. I mean, from tipping passes to slicing and dicing in the backfield at the goal line, making tackles for losses and stuff. I thought McFadden had a really good game. Like I said, there are guys that showed some pride tonight. Do we need more? Absolutely, we need more. But that was a very good step with some of these guys to show pride tonight.
Yeah, it's about time for sure. All right, Giant fans, that's going to do it for us here on the Locked On Giants podcast. As always, we appreciate you tuning in, making us your first listen of the day, or if watching on YouTube, your first watch of the day. Be sure to keep it here all week long. We've got plenty coming up on the Locked On Giants podcast. For David Turner and Patricia Traina, we will see you tomorrow, Giants fans.